This is Coach Jason Ballard, and I'm a business wingman. Over the years, I've learned a lot from working in our family construction business, serving as a senior officer in the United States Air Force, and running 12 different organizations around the world. Many people helped me get to where I am today, and it's my mission in life to serve as a personal wingman to others. That's what this podcast is all about, providing knowledge, tools, resources, and mentorship to help people soar to their highest altitude. Welcome back to the Soar Higher podcast. This is your host, Coach Jason Ballard. Real privileged to be with you today. Got another exciting, awesome show lined up for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic. No, not yourself. We're going to be talking about money. Everybody loves money. Everybody likes to make it. Everybody likes to keep it. Everybody likes to spend it. But today we're talking about money and how you can keep it and make the most out of it. Today we're very honored to have an expert in this space on the show to talk to us about different aspects of money, how to run that through your business, how to run that personally for you to be more successful. And so today it's my honor to introduce Jeff Maine. Let me tell you a little bit about Jeff here. Jeff is an expert in finance and money. He is an entrepreneur. He's the CEO of a company called Pay Proudly, which is a payment processing business focused on helping companies grow and be more profitable so they can continue to do bigger and better things in their business journey. And so without further ado, Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, Jason, for having us today. And we're excited to talk about payments. You know, it's such a fun topic for all business owners.
Yeah, I've met quite a few people, that claim to be in the payment processing business, and it's always a entertaining conversation. Some people are more serious than others in that space, but from getting to know you a little bit, I know where your passions lie, and so tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about your company and what
Yeah.
you do, and how all this got started.
Yeah. Went to early in life. I'm from the South, was raised in the South. About in middle school time frame, my dad moved us to St. Louis, outside of St. Louis. And so that's where I ended up going to college and graduating high school and going to college. And during college, I was at St. Louis University and I started dabbling in this payment space, just going out and selling a few, working for a company out of Texas at the time. And they had sent me a lead if somebody was interested in payments, and I'd go knock on their door and sell them a little Zon Junior box and a detached printer and lease it to them. And it was the whole way back in the day, and you make all your money leasing equipment rather than worried about payments. And I take a lot of that happened back then as what really affected this space and made people so confused by the space and just not understanding it and really having that aspect of that used car salesman kind of business, and people just don't want to talk about it. It's just kind of like a space that is so necessary in your business, but people don't really want to talk about it. But as I was doing that in college and I graduated, I had the opportunity to go work for a consulting company, and a phone call that changed my life was from my father. And he basically said to me, he said, "Hey," he said, "you can get that job anytime you want it." But he said, "You're not married right now." He said, "Go start your own business." And you've always wanted to start your own business. You've always wanted to work for yourself, and right now is the time to do it, because if you don't do it now, you're always going to make just enough money to where it's going to be too big of a risk, and you're going to be afraid to step away from that paycheck that you're getting to start a business and build it. And I look back on that as best advice I probably ever got, because I graduated college, moved home, and started my first payments company. And since that time, I've been in this space. We've started multiple companies. We've gone down different verticals of, just marketing to new businesses, to picking up a vertical and marketing heavily to verticals. We started a check company and wrote software in the ACH Check 21 world. When 9/11 happened and airplanes stopped flying and all the checks were in bellies of airplanes, billions of dollars was sitting at tarmacs, at airports. And that's when the check industry, the whole banking industry with checks changed, where everything went electronic. And so we were in front of that a little bit, of being able to be in that space and help you write software to send and push checks. And we stayed in that business for 10 or 15 years and were able to sell that. And I got into some partnerships, and we saw great days in partnerships, and we saw hard days of partnership. And about 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to separate out of a partnership, and on good terms, and be able to go out and start Pay Proudly. And that's, like talking with my wife, it was, hey, we need to stay in this space. We understand payments, but let's start a company with a mission right from the very beginning around really bringing clarity to merchants. They just don't have clarity. Really, what's wrong with this space? And it's business owners don't understand why they pay what they pay. They don't understand how to process payments. They don't understand what software packages they need, or point of sale systems, or hardware, or if they can take credit cards online, or if they can charge rates to take credit cards, or if they can't. They just lack all that clarity because they had somebody sell them and then they walked out the door and they never came and walked back in the door. And we want our merchants to know us, and we want to know them. We want to be in their business and really making a difference in their everyday business. And if they have a problem, we want them to call us, and we want to be more of a consulting approach with them. And so that was the first part of our mission. And so we wrote it out. This is our vision. This is what we want. And then the second part of our mission was to be charitable to our community. We wanted to build a business around being charitable. We wanted that to be in the DNA of the business from day one. So from the first dollar we ever made, we take 10% of all revenue that comes into the company, and we give that back to local organizations and some national organizations that we support. And we pick those that we support through our business owners. So we let our business owners be a big part of who we're supporting, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So we're asking our business owners: is it cancer? Is it kids? Is it food? Is it, what is it? And so we give them the credit for those donations, as we're making those on an annual basis. So that's how it's where we've come from and where we're at today. And we're having a lot of fun. Our business is growing. We're hiring people, and we're always looking for new verticals and new ways to market, new things to do. But it's fun to be in a space where your merchants know you and trust you. And it's the know, like, trust, right? So and that's why our attrition numbers are next to nothing today. We gain business, but we don't lose a lot, and it's because we answer the phone. That's why I tell, like, we actually do what we say we're going to do. And a lot of businesses just don't do that today.
Boy, you got that right. Well, it's an interesting approach. It sounds like you are more focused on some of the relationship aspects of this, which is vastly different than most of the payment processing groups that I'm aware of out there. All the major ones, they're very transactional. They
Absolutely.
sell you equipment or rent you equipment. They get you set up. They may give you 5 minutes of training, I don't know, on how to push the buttons on the machines, and hope you figure it out. Um, heck, I just went through this in my own. Now, I don't have like credit card machines like you'd see in restaurants or anything like that, but I've got an online
Yeah.
thing, and it was through my business banking. And the one they had, I didn't really use it because it was old and crusty and it was a pain in the butt to use. And I had another system. But then out of nowhere, here comes this national bank. "Hey, are you ready to migrate to our new thing?" And I'm like, "What is it like?" They were ready to, there was an email to hit a button to migrate right then and there. And I'm like, "What is this? What is this about? Why are we like?" I never had a heads up, never had an email from anybody I know at the bank that said, "Hey, by the way, we're going to be upgrading and doing different things for." It could have been a scam for all I know. It could have been like
Right.
a email phishing scam for. And so I had to call. I'm like, is this real? Oh, yeah, it's real. I'm like, okay, so how does this work? What's going to be different about it? I start asking questions, and I swear to God, they looked at me like I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like what? Show me the email you get. Like, no, nobody knew anything.
Hmm.
And so I went to talk to him. I said, so why should I do this? Why should I upgrade this? What's wrong with the other system that I have? What's different? What's better? Why should I be incentivized to do this? Training. Can you train me on this? Well, we don't have anybody here, but we can get you a national rep and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And it's a shame to say, but that's the normal for this industry. And these local banks have major partners, and they know banking. They know how to sell a loan. They know how to open a checking account. They don't know anything about payment processing, and it's just like that. They sent you an email with this brand new system that they want you to use, but they didn't ask you a single question about how you process payments. And in the payments world, there's so many different ways to be able to process a payment. How can I possibly make a suggestion to you to how to take credit cards when I know nothing about your business or how you're processing payments? How are your customers paying you? Or you could be invoicing your customers through QuickBooks. Well, you don't need that system. There's a lot of different ways that you could be processing payments. And we have integrations to QuickBooks. We have gateways. We have mobile payments. We have point of sale systems. We have website. We have recurring payments. We have all these tools, but you don't possibly need all of them. You need the
Right.
right tool for your business, and that's just and your bank's never going to know to ask those questions because they don't know. And if you're
Nope.
calling them for help, they're not going to be able to help you.
Nope.
But they're going to give you an 800 number to call.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do that. So tell me, Jeff, when did you have the epiphany like, hey, there's just like a need for this to be more customer focused, more relationship based? I mean, how do you even define relationship based in what you do?
Yeah, I think, as we grow and we grow as people and we grow as you learn what do you want, right? What do you want out of your business? And, we're a faithful family and we grow in our faith as well. And, you learn like what's important and what do you want for your customers and what do you want for your where do you want your business to go? And I just made a decision in my business. And, obviously my family life was important. And I would rather have a smaller group of great merchants that really know us and they're processing payments and they're processing the right way. And we don't have one out, two in every day, right? That we're bringing new merchants in, but we're bringing them in intentionally and we're keeping them because we're bringing them in intentionally. And so, yeah, we may be growing a smaller business, but our clients are all happy. And so we're not dealing with that other side of the business. And that just to me, I'm a relationship person. That's what fills my bucket of building relationships with people and learning about businesses and offering solutions. And so that's just it's a better model for me. And it's not for everybody. I understand that. Some people are going after the masses and they're building bigger companies than I am, and that's fine. And that's if that's what they want to do. But I can tell you when those reps walk in our customers' accounts, they won't even talk to them because they've all been through what you're
Mm,
talking about. Most merchants, most business owners have been through exactly what you're saying, or they've overpaid for equipment, or they've been in solutions that don't work, and they've needed help on a Saturday morning and they can't get a hold of anybody. And so all those merchants have that experience. And so when they have the experience that we're giving them, they don't leave us and we're able
yep.
to keep our businesses. And that's valuable.
So what is your relationships like with these folks? I mean, are you meeting with these business owners and leaders on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, going over performance and reports and,
Yeah.
kind of evolving and shaping their services as they need them, growing with them? Like what? if I was a client of yours, how would that work? What would I be experiencing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously, it's a lot of hand holding in the beginning, and there's certain merchants that need more help than others, as we all know, right?
Yeah.
Just some businesses need more assistance, and so we talk to some businesses a lot, and then we have some that we never hear from. So what we do have in our system is we have a quarterly call with every customer that pops up, and we have people in our office that we reach out to merchants that we're not talking to and say, hey, how's everything going? Do you have any questions? Have you had any issues? Or how's your business? And then annually we send an annual gift to all of our merchants on their anniversary. So their anniversary month, right, they get an annual gift from us, and it's just this year was a coffee cup and some pens, right? It's just simple stuff that we're doing to touch our merchants multiple times a year, every year. So they know we're here when they need us. And, we don't want them to forget who is their, who we are and what we've been able to do for them. So we try to really stay in front of our merchants.
Yeah. That sounds great, man. And I think people are used to the big box stores. They're used to some of these, maybe bigger platforms, but you can get lost and it's not for everybody,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Um, they I think our overall workforce and our economy and our businesses are looking to for more of a quality relationship with their vendors and suppliers and folks that work with them and provide them the things like you're talking about, right? um, I think people are tired of being a number. They're tired of getting something cheap because they're part of this massive thing where they can sell it cheaper than somebody else, and everybody's buying out everybody. And I think people are looking for almost going back to the past a little bit, and kind of this more relationship based thing. I remember growing up in my dad's business. He had a construction business, right? And this is there's no internet back at this point. The advertising was like a spot in the yellow pages, and maybe a big magnetic thing that stuck to the side of your vehicle that had your name and phone number on it.
Right.
Basic kind of guerrilla marketing tactics, right? And I remember, he wrote a lot of checks. He carried around this big, huge
Yeah.
checkbook. He put it on the dash of his truck, where the steering wheel is, and he'd fly around a corner, and this checkbook would fly off, and all the papers would go everywhere because he'd have all these printouts of lumber and hardware store receipts, and it was a little chaotic, but it was organized.
Hmm.
And when he would work with different folks on payments, when he started doing different types of payment methods and processing of those things, especially electronically through the banks, um, it was simple. He could pick up the phone. That was back in the day when you just picked up the phone when you needed something, regardless of what it was.
Yeah.
If you need to call the lumber store, the hardware store, your bank, for whatever you had going on, you pick up the phone, people answered the phone, they knew you, and they just got stuff done. It was just bang, doom. Okay, sounds great. See you tomorrow.
Right.
I think people are really craving that. And I mean, is that
Yeah.
my ignorance, or are you seeing the same thing?
I think there's so much of that interaction that business owners just do crave, and I think it kind of became a thing of the past, right? And there's little openings of that coming back in, into different industries, um, and that's why people, you keep businesses, like for example, PCI has become a big keyword in our industry, right? Of
Yep.
protecting cardholder data, and all businesses have to do these surveys once a year for PCI. And if they don't do it, they get charged what they call a non-compliance fee on an annual basis. Well, we monitor that, and we call our merchants and we say, hey, you've got your PCI survey coming up. Can we help you get through that? Can we help you get logged into it? Here's what you need to do. Here's a quick video of what it's going to ask you and how to walk right through it really quickly. And I can't tell you how many times I have my sales reps get in their cars for local merchants and will drive to locations and just walk through it with them, or hop on
Hmm.
the computer on a Zoom screen and just step through it with them. Because I tell them, if you guys, the way you continue to make, get paid and make money is to keep those merchants on your books. And it's the same with a bank. The way they've kept that business is to have that relationship. And I'm afraid of the banking today has become so automated with apps and all this stuff that personal connection is being lost. And then there's no, what's going to happen in the future of banking? Is everybody just going to bank online and never even know who your banker is? But the relationship piece to all of this in all businesses, I feel, is so important, because it builds the trust, and it builds if these businesses know you and like you, they're going to continue to do business with you. But we're, through automation and through technology, we're, there's a lot of things going on in our spaces today that we're losing some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear it all the time too in my coaching business. Talking to clients and stuff all over the world, and they all have the same kinds of concerns. And um, it's interesting to see how maybe history may repeat itself,
Yeah,
and we evolve into a little bit more of a community based approach, right? With all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, and the divisiveness in the country, and just it seems like communities are just really needing to come together. And I think, this some of the things you're talking about are really helpful in that process. So tell me, Jeff, when people think about payment processing and money, right? I mean, that's a major channel for
yeah,
which people are getting paid. They're getting cash flow, hopefully cash flow positive, right? And
yeah,
preventing themselves from getting cash flow negative, which is one of the major reasons people go out of business. They either underestimate the money it takes to start and run a business, or they start running out of, and they start growing, they grow sometimes a little too fast, and they can't get the cash flow in fast enough to meet the needs of the expenses going out.
yeah.
So, from your expert perspective, this is so important. It is a critical lifeline to any business, but it's so misunderstood.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I think it's misunderstood because of most of the, it's people don't understand why they pay what they pay, and they don't understand the fees associated with it. And, we go into some of this stuff with our merchants and we start talking about interchange. I can pull my credit cards out of my wallet right now. And if I was a client of yours, Jason, and I was giving you payment, I could use 5 different credit cards and you would pay a different fee for all 5 of those cards, whether it was
Mm,
a check card or a rewards card or an American Express reward or a Visa reward, because they're all going to hit different categories of interchange. And most people don't understand all of that. And they get these statements and they have all these different categories. And we try, as our company, we want to narrow that down and say, hey, listen, as you're opening business, and we start getting rhythms and we start understanding the customers that you have, we can give you what we call an effective rate, right? All your fees divided into your processing, and give you effectively, it's costing you around 2.5%, to take credit cards, whatever that number is. Some businesses can be lower than 2%, and some are going to be higher than 3, based on their business and what type of credit cards they're taking. Um, and so we really want to narrow that down for them, and we really want to explain, Visa and MasterCard, everybody thinks they're the ones getting all the money, but they actually get a small smidgen of that. The card issuing banks are the ones that are getting the majority of that money. The ones that are taking the risk on those transactions, that are setting up those credit cards, they're the ones that are really setting the interchange categories, and they're the ones that are getting the majority share of that money. But in today's world, based on your business type of what you're doing, and the competitiveness nature of your business, there's abilities for you to eliminate your credit card fees, where you can pass on the fee to the consumer for taking a credit card. And this has been being done at gas
mm,
stations forever. where you have a cash price and a credit price at gas stations, and we've all just become accustomed to it. And a lot of business owners will say, "Hey, Jeff, we're afraid to do that. We don't want to make our customers mad." And I said, "Well, do you pay at the pump with a credit card?" Yeah. Well, do you get mad about that? Well, no. Well, do you know if you walked inside and you pay with cash, it'd be less. They've been doing it for a long time. It's just
Hmm.
doing it the right way, and we've become accustomed to it. So one thing everybody's going to start seeing more and more of in the future is businesses having a cash price and a credit price. It's going to be advertised that way. It's called dual
Hmm.
pricing. There's also environments where we can do what we call surcharging, where we only surcharge credit cards and we don't surcharge debit cards. And there's going to be a lot of that goes on in the future as well. And you're going to see more and more of that in the medical world and different worlds of payments. Because face it, these businesses are paying thousands and thousands of dollars a month in processing fees. And with everything going up in cost, they're looking for every way they can possibly look for to reduce their cost. And credit card processing is a big line item. It's every year it's a big line item on these bigger businesses of what they're paying in fees. So we know going in as our company, going in, we have to offer solutions to reduce what you're paying in fees or give you abilities to totally eliminate it. And so we know that going in. And so that's going to be our approach is let's look at what you're paying. Let's look at how you're processing your payments, and let's talk through that whole process. Like for you, I know you're probably being a business coach. You're probably doing recurring billing. So
Yep.
you have it set up where you can just automate it and set it and forget it and not think about it, and it just automatically bills your client. There's all kinds of things that we're going to go down these different paths and talk about how you're billing and what you're doing and what's the best way. If it's a lot of B2B cards, there's ways we can qualify business credit cards to save money and hit different interchange categories if you're set up as a B2B business. So
Yeah.
there's different things that we're going to talk about and do, knowing that we are an expert in our industry. This is what we do. This is all we do. And so that's the direction we're going to go. And then we're going to give you all the different options and let you pick on how those are going to be. But we're going to give you full blown proposals that you can use that to however you want to use that. You don't have to do business with us, and we're not going to charge you to give you a proposal, but we're going to give you a proposal that's going to really lay out your business for you and bring a lot of clarity to you and your business and what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing in the future.
Yeah. I'm curious, Jeff. This kind of this land of the unknown. People are scared of this topic. They don't understand
Yeah.
it. They're too busy for it. It's numbers. Most people don't like numbers except, finance people and accounting people.
Yeah.
They're about the only people that seem to get excited about, numbers, right?
Yeah.
Business leaders, care about the bottom line and, some of the top line and bottom line numbers. That's the only number they care about most of the time. What are some of the, from you working with all these different companies that you work with all across the United States, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see as a trend that business leaders are making when it comes to this kind of thing?
I think the biggest mistake these business owners make, and I could bring business owner after business owner on here that we've talked to multiple times that just are afraid to give us an opportunity to talk because of exactly what you just said. They just don't want to talk about it. They just want to just leave it in the back pocket and just it's working. I'm just not going to look at it. We had a local business, a fairly large business that I talked to for over a year about their payments. And they finally gave us an opportunity to just look at their payments, and we saved them over $10,000 a month in processing fees and made
Whoa.
their system better for how they were taking credit cards. We took steps of their process away and made it easier on their staff. And he just wanted to kick himself that he didn't talk to us a year before because it was six figures we could have put back in his pocket. But people and business owners are afraid of change. It's a change, and it's we're dealing with something that's a big deal to them, right? It's money,
Yep.
and so they're very cautious, which I don't blame them for change. But what I try to tell business owners is just give us an opportunity to look at what you're doing and talk to you about it. You don't have to change anything. Talking is free. Having a conversation doesn't cost anything, but let's have the conversation. Let's discuss it. And if you decide to make a change, we can show you how we convert businesses and how we do it to where we don't lose any business when we convert. We don't want a business to not be able to take payments. That's important. So we have a system set up to be able to do that. But let's don't even talk about that in the beginning. Let's just look at your business and look at what you're doing, and let us give you a free proposal.
There are a lot of people claiming to be business partners,
Yeah.
relationship finance people. I've heard, and my clients have mentioned many different kind of labels you put on people that do or claim to do similar types of things that you and your company do. What are some of the warning signs that you would provide to people listening to the show,
Yeah.
that if you see this, if you hear this, these are things that should be red flags. These are
Yeah.
things you want to avoid. These are the gotcha things. What are the things that are differentiate, the good guys from the bad guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest red flag in our business is the guys that just want to tell you about what they're going to do for you without asking questions. If they're not asking you about your business and how you're taking payments and what your business looks like, and really, our sales appointments are the business owners are talking more than we are, because if we don't know your business, we can't quote your business. We have to understand what's going on in your business, and so I think that's the number one red flag. If they're just pushing a product on you without really understanding, without going through how you take credit cards, who are your customer, how do they pay you, do you invoice them? Do you have the ability to take credit cards online? Are you selling anything online? From a retail standpoint, are you taking inventory? Are you barcoding things? Where's your business at and what's going on there? Because I can't possibly offer you a solution without knowing the details of what I'm offering you. And when I look at a statement proposal, I want to see, did they really look at all those other categories and give me a true proposal on my processing, or are they just throwing numbers at me? Because a lot of times businesses will throw numbers out without even looking at a statement or knowing. I can't tell you today, Jason, what kind of credit cards you're taking without seeing a statement and seeing how they're qualifying. I can tell you what I think, and I've got a pretty good idea from being in this business for over 25 years of your clientele and what type of credit cards you're taking, but I don't know until I see a statement. And I can promise you, you don't know, because you don't because there's not many business owners out there that haven't been in this space that understand a credit card statement. So they're so confusing.
What are some of the common ways that you're seeing where people can save money, where people can maximize their profits to the fullest extent possible in this realm of what you're doing?
Well, there's the maximize your profits is to eliminate your fees. But I will say that with a disclaimer of, I am the first person to look at some business owners and say this is not for you. When you're competing with you, if you have a product and you're competing with Amazon, that's a tough game to get in, because you're competing on price. And so, but if you have a product that you're not competing on price, that you're competing on a value, you can eliminate your credit card fees, and that's the number one thing that businesses are switching to today, is eliminating their credit card fees by being able to give a cash and credit price. The big catch there is that you're doing it in a compliant manner and that you're following the rules of MasterCard and Visa and how you do it. And so, from whether it's on a terminal or whether it's on a gateway or a point of sale system, however you're presenting that to the customer, is very important that you're doing it in a compliant manner, and that's what we're here for. But that's the number one way businesses are substantially reducing what they pay, because they're able
Yeah.
to eliminate it.
Are there certain type of businesses or industries that are better suited for certain things versus others? I mean, you talked about, a cash price and a credit price and,
Yeah,
those kind of things. I mean, does that work in restaurants or does that work in gas stations? Like, how do you,
yeah,
what are some general guidance there on
yeah,
which things might, so if I own a certain type of business, oh, that might be something I need to look into versus, oh, I do have this type of business. Yeah,
yeah.
these options aren't for you. Can you give us a little bit of clarity there?
We kind of go all over. We have a lot of automotive repair that are going that direction today. We have a lot of specialty retail that go that direction. Your medical. A lot of medical is going into like a surcharge environment because they don't want to charge on the debit card. So different industries are going different directions with it. Your high ticket businesses, it's a little bit harder because when you're charging, 3% for a credit fee, it's the cash and the credit price are a big difference. But when you get into that, $50 average ticket range, or less, or even $100, it's not enough money that makes it to where people get really upset. Your dog groomers, your those type of businesses that you're going to because you love the place and you love the people, you're willing to pay an extra dollar to put it on your credit card and you're not going to complain about it. But that
Right.
$1 on every transaction adds up to a lot of money for these business owners.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
So
give us a story. Give
yeah.
us your favorite story of a client you met, connected with that really didn't understand all the things they needed to understand. And with your expertise, your training, your consultation, we're able to, turn maybe a somewhat of a bad news story into a good news story. What were some of the dynamics involved? What kind of things did you do to, help them and put into play for them? Uh, Always interested in hearing people's stories like that.
Yeah, I think one of our favorite stories to tell, and I can go into another even something else that we helped that merchant with. So I was talking about the local business, and it's a medical office that we were able to save $10,000 a month in their credit card fees. Now they're a large processing a month merchant. I realize a lot of
Right.
businesses don't even pay $10,000 a month in credit card fees, but they're a large processing merchant, and and a friend of mine. I know them well, and but we were able to continue to have that conversation, and and today he would kick himself that he didn't switch earlier. But just recently. They had a large chargeback that came through, and we were able to walk them through that chargeback. Where most businesses would be like, "Here, it's on you. Call this number." But we were able to help them through the chargeback process, where somebody's disputing a charge, we were able to get all the files, all the patient notes, all the stuff, and we were able to upload it for them. We typed up the chargeback rebuttal for them. We did it all for them. We got the information that
Hmm.
we knew they needed. We pushed it in, and we won the chargeback for them. It was over $8,000 chargeback that we won for them. And if we wouldn't have been a part of that, they would have lost that money. Um, but we handled that from A to Z, and that's the difference. That's
Wow.
who we are, and that's what we do. It's easy for us. You're thinking of that as something like a big deal, but it's easy for us because we're in
Yeah.
those systems every day. That's what we do, and so it when we're doing it, it's minutes of work. Where with if the merchant were to sit down and do it, it'd be hours of work. And we just that's who we are. That's what we're going to always do, and that's how we keep merchants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of goes back to the golden rule. The devil's always in the details. And so if you're a business leader out there and you don't have time to look at the details and you don't have time to keep up with what the current rates are and making sure you got the best rates on whatever, payment processing you may or may not have going on, it's always best to have some partnerships and relationships with people that are experts that can quickly advise you when there is a downturn or an upturn or any changes that are happening in the marketplace, or new technologies that come out that may be able to be a game changer for you. I, I see, and I want your opinion too, that a lot of business people find something that works,
Yeah.
whether it's right or wrong. They find something that works, build that muscle memory, and just kind of rinse and repeat every day, and they really aren't paying attention to the details because they're so busy keeping up with marketing and sales and customer service and orders and taxes and all the other things that take up a business leader's time. And these little details add up to thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in certain cases. um that was a great story, because that's the other side of the coin that most people don't even think about. What if somebody disputes the charge? What if somebody buys something, takes it out, and then goes back to their credit card company and files a complaint or a claim that, hey, I didn't get what I was supposed to get, or I
Right.
never got it, or this happened or that happened, and they're trying to, scam you, or knowingly or unknowingly, doing things that may or may not be right. If 10 people did that a month and
Yeah.
one, wow, I didn't even really think about that side of it. How valuable is that you could go in there, look at the data, look at the facts, present a case, a compelling case that legitimizes your client's side of the story, and they keep their hard-earned money. I mean, hard to
Yeah.
imagine that, right?
Yeah. And the difference is by the time merchants in a normal environment get the chargeback notice, they normally have about 2 or 3 days to respond. And
Hmm.
it's broken, right? That's the way it
Yeah.
works. But we get a notification as soon as that chargeback hits the processor. So the day they're mailing snail mail the notice, we get an email saying our merchant's got a chargeback coming. So we're already on top of that stuff. We're calling our merchant saying, hey, you've got a chargeback coming. It's on these last four credit card number. It happened on this date. Start pulling the data together. We'll help you dispute it. We'll help. And we know the keywords, right? We know what to say. We know what the risk departments are looking for. Was the merchant there? Did they get the service? Did they pay? Did they get what they paid for? So we know, because we're experts in this industry, how to answer those questions. And 9 times out of 10, we can win them, because most of the time it's a valid charge. It's just somebody wanting to get their money back for no reason. So, but you got to know what to say and how to say it to make that happen. And you have
Hmm.
to respond by a certain day. If you miss the response date by one day, you're done. You lost the money.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty scary,
yeah,
to think about that on especially a very high transactional, type of account. Well, Jeff, man, I feel like we just started this conversation. We're just cracking into this and really getting into some great things. However, as we start kind of concluding today's great show, what are the top 3 things that you want people to take away from this episode?
yeah. I think number one is know what you're paying. Go back and look at your payments, and know what you're paying for credit card processing. Number two, make sure that you're processing the right way. Make sure that you're taking credit cards the way you should be taking credit cards, and making the decisions whether you can charge fees or not charge fees. If you're charging fees, make sure you're doing that compliantly. Big fines out there if you're not, and you definitely don't want to get hit by those. And number three is, spend the 10 minutes and give us a call and get a free consultative approach of just let us talk to you. Let us have a conversation around your payments and what we could possibly do with you and for you. and we'll put that right back in your hands. And if you use that to go back to your current provider and get better rates, then that is what it is. But if you decide to do business with us, we'd love to talk to you, and we'd love to have the opportunity to work with you.
That's awesome, man. Jeff, you've been so great today and providing a lot of just wonderful, in depth, behind the scenes kind of knowledge to really help leaders be more informed, which is why what this podcast is about, providing tools, information, and resources to people to help them be smarter, help them to think differently, help them to be more successful. And I just can't thank you enough for coming on the show and being able to share these things. I mean, this is some very powerful and important stuff for business leaders to be thinking about, and not just when the credit card machine isn't working and
Right.
you're stressed out and you need some help all of a sudden. Right? Like this needs to be part of your daily thought process. And so, Jeff, you've been so great. I know people are going to be, interested in learning more, talking with you, following up. How do people do that? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Best way is shoot me an email, or check out our website. There's a direct link out there to us as well, payproudly.com, Payproudly. My email is jmaine, so that's Jmaine, just like the state, at payproudly.com. So I'm on the
Okay.
website underneath contacts, but I'd love to have conversations with any and all of you. Our phone number's on our website. Give us a call. We'll prove it to you that we answer the phone when you call. So we'd love to have that conversation with you.
That is certainly a rarity in today's world. I called about 5 people today for various things, and none of them answered the phone. And none of them have yet to call me back. And this is like money in their pocket kind of stuff that
There you
I
go.
needed to work with them on. So I take Jeff up on his offer to see if he answers the phone. We'll also put all of his great contact information in the show notes, as we always do with our guest. So you have an opportunity to, kind of go directly there online if you need to, and connect directly with him. So that's it for today's show, folks. Real privilege to have Jeff on the show. Thank you so much. Next week, got another great big show in store for you. We're going to be talking about business operations. This is another area where people like to talk and want to be engaged and get overwhelmed by it all. And so next week we're going to be talking with experts about business operations and how to turn chaos into order. You don't want to miss it. So that's it. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.